In this exquisite video, I will be teaching you the 12 tenses. Sounds interesting. Let's jump right in. Welcome to Level Up with Coach Irene. To proceed, let's look at this table showing all the tenses. Here we have present, past, and future tense, and the four aspects, which include simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. They make up the 12 tenses. The present time and the simple aspect make present simple. Same with present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. Same thing applies to past time and the four aspects: past simple, past continuous, past perfect, past perfect continuous, and also the future time, which include future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. All these 12 tenses are what we're going to be discussing in this lesson. Let's begin with present simple tense. Present simple is used to describe habits or routines, general truths, facts, states, or conditions, scheduled events. They are found with a subject, which include I, you, we, they, he, she, or it, plus a verb in its base form or V1 form. Examples: he eats breakfast at 7 a.m. Jane reads every morning. They play soccer on weekends. If you observe, the verbs in the first two sentences have S. This is because when using he, she, it, or someone's name, you need to add S. However, when using I, you, we, they, you do not need to add S. This rule applies to most verbs in the simple present tense. Let's look at the present continuous. Present continuous is formed with a subject plus am, is, or are plus verb in ing or continuous form. You say I am, he, she, it, is, and you, we, they for are. Present continuous tense, also called the present progressive tense, is used to describe actions that are happening right now or actions that are ongoing. Examples: they are eating dinner. They are also used for temporary actions. For example, he's working at the cafe this summer. They could also be used for planned future actions. For example, we are meeting tomorrow. In addition, they can also be used for changing situations. For example, the weather is getting colder. Let us look at present perfect tense. They are formed with the subjects plus has or have plus past participle in V3 form of the verb. Has is used with he, she, it. Have is used with I, you, we, they. Examples: I have eaten breakfast. She has started a new job. We have known each other since high school. They have already seen that movie. The present perfect tense is used to describe actions or situations that started in the past and continued to the present. For example, she has lived here for 5 years. They are also used to show actions that happened at an unspecified time in the past. For example, they have visited America. In addition, they are used to show actions recently finished. For example, he has just finished cooking. The difference between the present simple and the present perfect is that the present perfect tense focuses on the connection between the past and present rather than the exact time an action occurred. Let us look at these examples. They have already seen the movie. This is a present perfect tense. For a present simple tense, it would be They saw the movie yesterday. So, the difference is present perfect focuses on the connection between the past and the present, whilst present simple focuses on the exact time the action occurred. To proceed, let us look at the present perfect continuous tense. It is used to describe actions that started in the past and have been continuing up to the present. It emphasizes the duration of the action or the fact that it is ongoing or recently completed. It is formed with a subject plus has or have plus been plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Has been is used with he, she, it, whilst have been is used with I, you, we, they. Present perfect continuous tense are used with actions that started in the past and are still happening now. For example, she has been studying for 3 hours. They have been working here since 2001. Number 2, they are used for actions that were happening recently and have just finished with present results. For example, it has been raining, so the ground is wet. I am tired because I have been working since morning. Number 3, they are used to emphasize the duration of an activity. For example, we have been waiting for you all day. He has been reading that book for months. Present perfect continuous tense is used for showing how long something has been happening and that is still relevant to the present moment. Let's talk about the past simple tense. They are used to describe actions that started and finished in the past. It often refers to a specific point in time or a completed action. They are formed with a subject plus verb in past form or V2 form. This verb is either regular or irregular. By that I mean, regular verbs are formed by adding ed to the base form of the verb. For example, work, walked, play, played. Whilst irregular verbs use unique past form. For example, go, went, see, saw, give, gave. Past simple tense are used when actions are completed in the past. For example, she visited her grandmother yesterday. They watched a movie last night. Number 2, they are used for a sequence of events in the past. For example, she entered the room, turned on the light, and sat down. In addition, they are used for habits or repeated actions in the past. For example, I walked to school every day when I was a child. Mary often played piano in the mornings. Lastly, they are used for general truth or fact in the past. For example, people used to think that the earth was flat. He lived in London for 5 years. Moving on, let's look at past continuous tense. The past continuous tense, also called the past progressive tense, describes actions that were ongoing at a specific moment in the past. This tense is often used to set the scene or show an action in progress when another action interrupted it. It is formed with a subject plus was or were plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Was is used with I, he, she, it, whilst were is used with you, we, they. Let us look at the uses of past continuous tense. Number 1, to describe an ongoing action in the past. For example, Joy was reading a book all afternoon. We were playing soccer when it started raining. Number 2, to show an action interrupted by another. I was cooking dinner when the phone rang. We were sleeping when the alarm went off. Number 3, to describe 2 or more actions happening at the same time in the past. For example, while I was studying, my sister was washing dishes. We were talking and she was taking notes. Number 4, to set the scene or create a background. For example, the sun was setting and the birds were chirping. Note: in the present perfect continuous tense, we use since and for to indicate how long an action has been happening. For is used to specify the duration of time, that is, how long something has happened. For example, she has been working here for 5 years. They have been playing soccer for 2 hours. Since is used to specify the starting point of the action when it began. For example, she has been working here since 2018. Let's look at this example. I have been learning Spanish since 6 months. What did you observe? The word since. In this sentence, it is incorrect to use since. Rather, it should be for. I have been learning Spanish for 6 months. Use for with durations for 3 hours, for a month, for a year. Use since with specific point in time. Since yesterday, since last year, since 2024. To proceed, let us look at past perfect tense. It is used to show that one action or event was completed before another action or time in the past. It's helpful in establishing a clear sequence of events in the past. The past perfect tense is formed with the subject plus had plus past participle or V3 form of the verb. The auxiliary verb had remains the same for all subjects that include I, you, we, they, she, he, and it. Let us look at the uses of the past perfect tense. Number 1, it is used to show the earlier of 2 past actions. For example, Jane had finished her work before she went out. By the time we arrived, the movie had already finished. Number 2, they are used to describe cause and effect in the past. He was tired because he had worked all day. My mother didn't eat dinner because she had already eaten lunch. Number 3, they are used with time expressions to indicate completion before a point in the past. Examples: I had just left when she called. By the time they got to the station, the train had left. The past perfect tense is useful for clarifying the order of events in the past, especially when it might otherwise be unclear. Let us compare the past perfect and the past simple. The past simple and past perfect tenses both describe actions in the past, but they are used differently, especially when describing the sequence of events. Let us look at some examples. I finished dinner and then went out. I had finished dinner before I went out. The first sentence is a past simple tense. Here, the actions are presented as happening one after another, but the other is only implied by the other of the sentence. Whilst the second sentence is a past perfect tense. The phrase had finished makes it clear that finishing dinner happened before going out. This shows that one action or event was completed before another action or time in the past. Moving on, let us look at past perfect continuous tense. It is used to describe actions that began in the past, continued for a period, and were still ongoing right up to a particular moment in the past. It emphasizes the duration of the action or the fact that it was happening over time. It is formed with a subject plus had been plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Let us look at when to use the past perfect continuous tense. Number one, to show an action that was ongoing until another action or time in the past. For example, they had been working all morning when lunch was finally served. Jane had been studying for hours before she took a break. Number two, it is used to emphasize the duration of an action before another past event. For example, he was exhausted because he had been running for an hour. I was anxious because we had been waiting for the results all day. Number three, it is used to indicate the cause or a past condition or result. For example, the ground was wet because it had been raining. Her eyes were red because she had been crying. Moving on, let us look at future simple tense. The future simple tense is used to describe actions or events that will happen in the future. It is commonly formed with the auxiliary verb will or the phrase going to or with a present continuous, that is the ing form. Let's look at will. Will is used in the future simple tense to talk about actions or events that will happen in the future. It is formed with a subject plus will plus the base form of a verb. It has a few main uses. 1. It is used for spontaneous decisions. For example, I'm cold, I'll close the window. I forgot my notebook, I will go back and get it. Number 2, it is used for promises, offers, or requests. For example, I will help you with the homework. Will you lend me your notes? Number 3, it is used for predictions or beliefs about the future. For example, I think it will snow tomorrow. People will use more technology in the future. Going to is used to express plans and intentions. It is formed with the subject am or is or are with going to plus a verb in its base form. For example, I am going to study medicine after high school. They are going to travel to Japan next month. Present continuous can be used to talk about fixed arrangement or planned event in the future, especially when we have already decided on a specific time or place. This usage is common for social plans, travel, appointments, and meeting. It is formed with the subject plus am or is or are plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Let's look at some examples. We are having dinner with friends tomorrow night. She's seeing the doctor on Friday. They are flying to New York on Monday. Using the present continuous for future arrangements gives a sense of certainty as it implies the plan is set or scheduled. You might want to know the difference between going to and present continuous. Let's look at some examples. I am going to visit my parents this weekend. This sentence implies you have the intention to visit them, but it may not be a firmly scheduled plan yet. Let's look at the next sentence. I am visiting my parents this weekend. This implies a fixed arrangement, such as a set time or organized plan. Another example would be, I am going to start guitar lessons. I am starting guitar lessons on Monday. Which do you think is the plan and the fixed arrangement? You can pause the video and answer the question. Well, the first sentence is the plan, whilst the second is the fixed arrangement. Going to in the first sentence indicates a plan, whilst the second sentence indicates a confirmed arrangement with a specific date. To proceed, let us look at future continuous tense. It describes actions that will be in progress at a specific moment in the future. This tense is often used to emphasize the ongoing nature of a future action. It is formed with the subject plus will be plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Let's look at when to use the future continuous tense. Number 1, for an action in progress at a specific time in the future. For example, this time tomorrow, I will be flying to New York. At 8 p.m. tonight, they will be watching the game. Number 2, it is used for planned or expected actions in the future. For example, they will be working on the new project next week. We will be visiting friends over the weekend. Number 3, it is used for polite inquiries about someone's future plans. For example, will you be using the car tomorrow? Will you be joining us for dinner? Number 4, it is used for background actions in the future. For example, while you're finishing the report, I will be preparing the presentation. The future continuous is useful for expressing actions in progress and giving context to future events. Moving on, let's look at future perfect tense. It is used to talk about actions that will be completed by a certain time in the future. It emphasizes the completion of an action before a specific future moment. It is formed with the subject plus will have plus past participle or the V3 form of the verb. Let's look at when to use the future perfect. Number 1, to show completion of an action by a specific future time. For example, by next year, she will have graduated from college. We will have completed the project by Friday. In these sentences, you can see that the future perfect was used to express that something will be finished by a particular point in the future. Number 2, it is used to emphasize duration up to a future point. For example, by 2027, they will have been married for 10 years. By the time you arrive, I will have waited for 5 hours. Notice that the future perfect focused on completion before a specified future time. Time expressions like by or by the time are commonly used with the tense to specify the future point. Lastly, let us look at future perfect continuous. The future perfect continuous tense is used to talk about actions that will be ongoing up until a specific time in the future. This tense emphasizes both the duration of the action and its completion just before that future moment. It is formed with a subject plus we have been plus verb in the ing or continuous form. Let us look at when to use the future perfect continuous. Number one, to emphasize duration of an action up to a future point. For example, by next year, she will have been working here for 5 years. When they arrive, we will have been waiting here for over an hour. These show how long an action will have been happening up until a specific time in the future. Number two, it is used to show cause of a future condition. For example, they will be hungry because they will have been working since morning. He will be tired because he will have been traveling all day. Future perfect tense focuses on the duration leading up to a specified future time. It is commonly used with time expressions like by or for. This tense is useful for emphasizing how long something has been happening before a particular moment in the future. It is time for you to practice. These 12 sentences are sentences with the 12 tenses in English. I would like you to pause the video and place the right tense to its right sentence. Afterwards, play the video and see if you got it correctly. Did you get it correctly? Way to go! With this, we have come to the end of this lesson. I trust that you got value. Do well to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our exquisite channel. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.